Okay, folks, welcome back to Hearthstone. So, I have a new deck I want to show you. I call it Sergeant at Arms. And the idea for this was to find the class with the most weapons and build a deck around it. And this is what I came up with. It ended up being kind of a hybrid pirate slash armor warrior kind of deck, since a lot of the pirate cards interact with weapons somehow, and then I put in a bunch of the warrior cards that I like to use. This is what I came up with, and I've played around with it a little bit, and it actually works pretty well. They've actually put in enough pirate cards, specifically class pirate cards, that you can actually make a somewhat viable deck now with going with a theme. So, starting off, Imprisoned Gangarog. I love this card. It stays dormant for 2 turns, so if you draw this in your opening hand, it will stay on the board until your 3rd turn, and then it will give you a Fiery War Axe. So, value-wise, it's debatable. It kind of makes your 2nd turn a little more viable because you can armor up. And I've won games with kind of different strategies. Some were more aggressive, some were more just kind of armoring up and just kind of outlasting whatever they threw, depending on what the other deck was. I don't see a lot of early game decks, so those first few turns you kind of have to play around. So I think it's a little more of a value because you end up with a 2/2 minion on the board. It can't attack after 2 turns. It has to wait 1 turn because it's asleep, which I think is kind of a flaw with the whole dormant thing, because it has been on the field for 2 turns already. The flip side of that is most people just ignore it because they're seeing a warrior with a 3/2 axe. So, and a lot of the other cards interact with weapons, so it kind of works. So focusing on the new cards, 2 South Sea deckhands, of course, 2 upgrades, 1 Whirlwind, just to take care of any, basically for board control, to take care of any smaller minions that seem to flood the board. A lot of net decks focus more on low health minions in many cases, so I figured 1 Whirlwind was worth having. 1 Blood Cell Raider, 2 Executions, which I actually, you could probably get away with 1. I haven't actually had a need for 2. I added a Slam later on. I haven't had to swap out too many cards. If I had to swap out a card, it's because I'm an idiot and can't read basic card text. So it didn't do what I thought it was going to do. I read like half of it and said, okay, that's good, throw it in there. And yeah, so I've swapped out a couple of the pirate cards and a couple of, I think, one of the, has it been 1 or 2? It might have just been 1. I was thinking there were 2. Might have just been the 1 pirate card that I misread. But I threw in Slam because I realized fairly early on that draw was a big problem with this deck, depending on the opponent you were up against. I've tried to pace myself a little more, focusing more on, maybe using my hero power where I might otherwise play a card, just for the sake of curve. And that seems to kind of help if you pace yourself, kind of get more of the pieces you need to figure out what you're doing. As I said, I've won games with varying strategies. So, 2 Fiery War Axes. I was contemplating, and I still kind of am, taking one or two of these out. I think I took out... I'm not sure. Yeah, but it kind of is on curve with the Hunter's Eaglehorned Bow. You can kind of just keep re-equipping one after the after you get the one from the card from being dormant. Yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth depending on the games I play. Some games I'm like, oh, a different card would have been better there. Other games I'm like, I keep... Overall, with the games I've played, I find I'm using them. So for the time being, I've left them. If you did want to swap something out, you could definitely probably get away with taking one of these out. 2 shield blocks for armor and card draw. Threw in 1 axe slinger. This is probably the only thing that is somewhat random, that has no synergy with anything else. And I put it in here because of the effect. You can get 2/4 damage straight to your opponent's face, so I think it's worth having, just to kind of help clear the board. A 2/5 is pretty good. Like I said, there's a lot of smaller minions, so typically you can get 4 damage to your opponent's face with this. 2 Dread Corsair, a Horde Pillager. This works extremely well. If you have, as long as you have good weapons in your deck, and that you have played one and then the durability has ran out, this works great. 4 cost is good. The stat lines kind of could be better, 4/2, but it's really more the effect rather than anything else. And if your opponent runs anything else into it, it's doing 4 damage. So if they go face, it's 4 damage. If they run a minion in, it's 4 damage. So I mean, it's not terrible. Phantom Freebooter. This is why I only had 1 Blood Cell Raider, because they kind of have a similar effect. So I just kind of split the difference. 2 Wrench Calibrator. I have some cards in that put bombs in your opponent's deck that will shuffle bombs in. It's not a bomb kind of deck. It's just kind of a passive effect from playing other cards. And from the games I've played, it actually works rather well because it helps, kind of works like suppression. It helps to keep your opponent's health down in decks where they might be in a position to regain their health after you've attacked, or something of that nature. There's a lot of decks that are built around the concept of getting, your health falling low while you draw the cards you need, and then, keeping yourself alive. So the bombs help to kind of suppress those other cards, kind of negate their effects, if you will. So you can keep up the pressure and get your opponent to lethal a little more when you would have anyway. Because of the bombs, I've only been delayed maybe a turn or 2 from having lethal when I normally would, especially in the later game. So Wrench Calibrator was kind of a no-brainer for me because it has good stats, has a good card effect for 1 more cost of a Fiery War Axe. 2 Aconite Reapers. I was debating putting these in just because it's just a pretty basic weapon, 5/2. It's a standard warrior weapon, but everything else kind of has an effect. It kind of synergizes. This just kind of does its own thing. With 2 upgrades, though, it has a little more value. So I went ahead and have left it. you kind of get to a point where you get to decide if you want to equip another Fiery War Axe or if you want to use an Aconite Reaper. So this actually kind of takes the place of removal rather than face. Because I can, with a combination of cards in the deck, I can get lethal. I just have to stay alive to do it. So in the event I don't have a ton of armor built up, which again is kind of a passive thing just from playing cards, this works well for removal, for keeping pressure up. It's not just all the weapons just aren't go face. This one you kind of have a little more option depending on the game. One Brawl, which I actually have not used. Normally I really like this card. By turn 5 is about when you need it, and if you're at a point where your field is empty, or you have maybe one card that's damaged, so it's not going to last very long, you can Brawl, try to, put the board advantage back in your favor a little bit. It's not as useful in this deck as I thought it would be. And I don't know if that's just because the meta's changing. Again, I'm playing in Wild, bear in mind. If it's me or if it's just this deck, I'm not sure. I've left it in here for the time being, but this is something, again, if you wanted to swap something out, you could probably get away with taking this out without too much worry. You do have 2 executes. So there are decks I've made, games I've played where I thought, oh, it would be nice to have a 3rd execute somehow or something. Or if there was another card that had this effect built in. I don't really do that a lot with this. I've used 1 a game, maybe 2, depending on, again, the opponent's deck. So Brawl's kind of overkill, I feel like, in a way. Again, I just kind of been leaving it. The deck's working, so I'm not messing with too much right now. You start swapping out cards, you lose whatever synergy you had, as odd as it may seem. You may have one card that you think, oh, this really isn't doing anything, I can swap it out, and then it changes the whole structure of your deck. So for the time being, I was just kind of leaving it. Deadly Arsenal, just 1. Because it is a 6-cost card, that is getting more into late games. So you do have, it's a good deck to have this in because you do have a lot of weapons. So you're almost guaranteed to have a weapon in your deck. It's just very random. So whether the weapon does any good, a lot of the weapons I have are just 3, goes by the attack. So yeah, just 3 damage, 3 damage, unless you've used an upgrade on something. It's good for a lot of the decks. Again, not to be repetitive, but a lot of the decks do have a lot of low-cost minions right now, I'm noticing. So you're almost guaranteed with 3 attack to clear something off the board. There was a time where it would just really more damage stuff. Towards the later game, it really wouldn't kill anything. I've actually been using this to clear the board, kind of as a makeshift flame strike, if you will. So yeah, I can't justify having 2. Definitely think it's worthwhile having 1 with all the weapons. You're not normally going to get this much synergy from this card, so it's kind of nice while I have it. 1 Iron Juggernaut, just to have something big in the deck. Does shuffle a mine that does 10 damage when drawn, so not terrible. 1 Unidentified Shield, just because you're guaranteed to get armor and the effects aren't terrible. You'll either get a weapon, armor, damage, summon a 5/5 minion, something. 1 Manethil Spellstone. I kind of split the difference between the Unidentified Shield and the Spellstone, because I like both these cards a lot. and having one of each seems to be enough. So if by this point in the game, when you can play one or both of these, if you're not close to winning or getting close to lethal, you're not going to. You're going to lose. It's just as simple as that. And then one Garrosh Hellscream. Just for the sake of it. That was the other reason why I kept in at least one Whirlwind. I don't know that I've ever actually played him. But a charge minion that has... There's a lot of things. He just has to be damaged. So there's a lot of different ways to damage him in the game. There's a lot of cards that have AoE effects. So a 9 health minion's pretty good. So I went ahead and threw him in just to see what fun and or mischief we could have. So yeah. As I said, mostly pirate cards and then warrior cards that I like. So we'll see what happens. They have changed the ladder and the ranking system, so I don't know. I'm not sure what effect that's having quite yet. Playing in Wild, you're pretty much
Garrosh versus Gul'dan.
taken out of the meta.
So. Be mine. Victory or death.
I haven't had to make any new decks because the meta for Wild hasn't changed. You can use all the cards, so it's kind of nice. I'm enjoying it. That is a pretty good opening hand. If this was still 2 cost, it would be great.
Greet you. Greetings.
Okay. Well, I mean, we have options.
Why do you call?
It's a very standard warlock move. Armor up, why not? Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. I want to take the taunt. Right now, it's a good rule of thumb to keep taunts to a minimum whenever possible, so.
The future is clear. Your demise be near.
Well, you know, that could actually work out really bad for him, depending on what he gets, because a lot of the cards have synergy with weapons, so. If... Okay, this is what we're going to do.
Blood and
That.
plunder.
Going to do that. That, and do I want to go face or do I want to hold the weapon? Let's go face. Get some damage going. I'm getting into the turn where I can play the Astonite Reaper if I draw it. Okay, well, we can play the Juggernaut next turn.
Job's done.
Like I said, you can armor up just in the...
Let's crash this party!
just in playing your other cards. That's not great. But chances are he may not have another death rattle movement because this is a random deck. So,
X marks the spot.
something big on the board.
Job's done.
Yeah, it doesn't do like a whiz bang where it gives you like a pre-made deck or anything. They're random cards as far as I know. I don't think they're like the deck recipes or anything. I think it literally is just random cards as far as I know. Although this is looking an awful lot like a Shadow Priest, so... I was really happy to avoid that. Well... what do I want to do?
What now?
I could execute the Coffin Crusher. Crasher. Coffin Crasher. Wanted to play the Juggernaut though.
I wonder.
I can only do one. If I play the Execute, that's basically all I can do. So...
I must choose.
yeah. And then... I mean, it may seem silly to put the Juggernaut in harm's way. It normally dies anyway, so if I can get a trade, because I want to find out if he has a death rattle in his. Okay. Well, Brawl could be worthwhile here. Yeah. Take a chance with the Brawl, because if it gets rid of one or both, that's not terrible. That is unfortunate. Well...
What now?
do I go face and damage it and then execute? I think I do. Well, that's random. Sure. Huh. If I could draw the big bomb, that would be great at this point. It's Too bad he didn't stay a warlock. The draw would actually help me quite a bit here. So this would be more kind of the passive armor approach. You're not really being aggressive. You're just kind of keeping the board clear as much as possible and then just, you know, keeping the pressure up. See, in this situation, Deadly Arsenal makes no sense. If I don't kill that, it's going to spawn into...
In the light's name.
Yeah, but all your...
Almost out of time.
I think those little crystals are new. I don't think I've had that before. If it did, I don't remember it.
That was a mistake.
Okay. Well, now Deadly Arsenal could be good. Okay, let's do this. Let's... Okay. Because I'm almost assured to kill... Yeah. Keep the pressure up. I'm still hoping for the big bomb.
Mortal life, fleeting, fragile.
Okay. Does he realize what he just did? Okay, let's do this to get the most out of it.
I can wait no longer. Taste my blade. Extraordinary.
Treasure? Loot? What more can I ask for?
Nice!
Taste my blade.
Well, that's GG, dude, so thanks. Okay. Something tells me he wasn't familiar with playing priest. I think realistically, I was gonna win regardless. I don't want to get overconfident there, but I'm pretty sure I was gonna win regardless. By the time you get into Shadow, you've more or less committed yourself. Your healing spells pretty much do nothing or very little, so...
Garrosh versus Valera.
Watch your back.
Victory or death!
Oh, good. I got imprisoned Gangurd. There we go. Let's send that back. I have lower cost cards, so... Okay.
They cannot stop my work.
So that is it dormant.
Mummy needs 5 more minutes.
Oh, that's cute. Was this like a theme deck or something here? Okay, now this says deal 2 damage if it survives, draw a card. What does that do on reborn creatures? I would assume nothing, because technically it kills it. And then it comes back, so yeah, I'm not going to... Now, if they do go face, that'll take care of the face damage. I mean, this is really nothing. He's trying to get set up. Like I said, the first few turns are pretty much yours to do with what you will, so...
Oh, up to no good? Me too.
And there you go.
Weapons for my master!
That is not terrible. What does this do? Add to random. Okay. Really not too worried about this because it's all pretty low damage. So, if anything, I'm thinking shield block. Okay. And then I'm going to coin out the Dread Corsair.
And plunder.
And then... yeah.
Job done.
The thing with these kind of thief cards is they're so random. You rarely get cards with synergy. So... this guy's
toast.
okay. Can you slam on the SI7 features? Or maybe on the taunt. The taunt might be better. Okay, let's do this, because I want to get this off the board. So...
Money needs five.
yeah. And see, then we have another Fiery War Axe, so we're good to go. I think that was about as efficient of a play as I could have made right there, so... Now what do we want to do the next turn is the question. Got the Horde Pillager, but it's only going to equip a Fiery War Axe.
Oh, up to no good.
I'm really thinking of playing Axe Flinger, because I feel like we could have some fun with this.
On the wings of evil.
See, as I said, Whirlwind and Deadly Arsenal work really well against decks like this, so... And this is a lot of what I've been seeing. Or we could Brawl. Brawl would be good. Because it's guaranteed to kill more than I could otherwise. So let's do that. They're all pretty much low attack. Nice. That went about as well as I could have hoped.
We are friends now. Hello, friend.
Again, that was random. That could have been good or bad. So. Okay, do I want to play Iron Juggernaut? Wouldn't be terrible here, wouldn't be terrible here. But I really need to start thinking about doing some damage. So... Okay, I think what I'm going to do, just to try to even out the health,
What can I ask for?
is armor up, let's say, try to start putting some pressure on. This is the problem with rogues, is they have an answer to everything. And her hand size is not getting any smaller. I keep actually hoping for a Deadly Arsenal at this point. I think I might just go ahead and play Iron Juggernaut at this point, put something big on the board. Because she just keeps focusing on my face, and this is not getting me anywhere, so... If I lose this, this will be one of the only losses I've had with this deck. So... I'm kind of not sure what to do at this point. Normally, I can keep more momentum going than this, so... This is just some kind of weird... okay. Yeah.
Well played.
I'm not going to say there was strategy there, because there was no strategy there. Those were just random cards she seemed to have put together. Okay. I was trying to think if that was the first loss I've had with this. I don't think so. But it is one of the first. Really didn't get much in the way of removals, so a Whirlwind at any point could have helped. Deadly Arsenal could have helped.
Garrosh versus
Like I said, it's
Malfurion.
important to keep down the
I
taunts
must
as
protect
much as
the
possible.
Victory or death!
And this is not a great overhand. Okay.
Greetings.
Um. If he just waits 4 turns to do anything to activate his quest, that is really going to be disappointing because I have none of my early game cards. It seems to be the way he's going. Really don't want to use upgrade without weapon out because it's just not great value. And I don't want her to back out. Okay. Well, this would be the more aggressive approach, just kind of keeping the pressure up as much as possible. Now the question is, do I want to use the upgrade now or wait and use the Horde Pillager and then upgrade on a 2 durability? Probably a 2 durability. I like that. Seems to make sense. Okay. Well, let's keep forward clear.
Treasure? Loot? What more can I ask for?
I mean, it's hard to argue with that. This may not look like much when you first see it, but that is a good card. That is not good.
Blood and plunder.
It is not good at all. Case in point, not good at all. Well, I can kill one. With that. And let's go ahead and slam this one. Draw a card. Okay. No, I have other weapons, so I don't want to upgrade a weapon with 1 durability, so. In a rare event, we actually have all of our weapons, so. I'm so tired of seeing taunt cards. Okay. Oh. Well. That's the problem. Okay, I'm going to wait a turn because I don't want to run that in there and take damage twice from that. And he healed back up, so that's great. So this... Restore 12 health, yep.
Where shall I start?
Yeah, this is clearly some kind of net deck. I might just say GG. Yeah. Might just say GG. Not trying to be a support for it, but I mean, this is ridiculous. We'll try again. There's no way you can tell me that was a random deck somebody just put together. That was one of the few, like, obvious net decks I've seen in a while. So. Pleasantly surprised by that.
Garrosh versus Tyrande.
Alone give me strength.
Victory or death!
And I'm going to send the deckhand back because it does me no good if I don't have a weapon. So... that's even worse. Okay.
Job done.
Greetings.
Well, come on. What are you going to do?
I wonder.
You've got 6 cards. Pick one. You go AFK. Okay, so...
They cannot stop my work.
Well, he's played something. So presumably there is a human being on the other side.
I wonder.
Still playing awfully slow though. Come on. You have 1 less card than you did last turn.
we take.
Okay. Ooh, well now that puts me in a precarious spot because that under normal circumstances I would play this. You know, I just had a really strange thought. Let's try that.
Job done.
Oh, there's cards you don't see very often.
Weapons for my master!
Treasure? Loot? What more can I ask for?
Ruktar Ogre!
Job done.
So that wasn't efficient at all, but it got me another charge of Red Caliber, so I'm going with it. Okay. Doing like the whole definite thing. Yeah, it's not looking promising.
Ruktar Ogre!
Job done.
So he's got 3 mines in his deck. He didn't draw one, right? Yeah, okay.
What is a loon's will?
Still kind of net decky, but you're not sure what's in the deck. So.
I wonder.
You know what? I'm just gonna go after Reaper. Get these things off the board. How close is he? Still got 3 cards?
I wonder.
For master we take!
Okay.
What now?
Ready to fling!
See if we can have some fun with that.
X marks the spot!
That. Okay. I always want to see that happen like back to back.
I wonder.
Treasure? Loot? What more can I ask for?
I was hoping for a wrench caliber, but that's not. What?
Stop moving!
Standard hero.
Stop moving!
We have to be quick about this, or he will warden, and South will go up to 40. He's almost certain to warden here, I would imagine.
What is a loon's will?
Right? Because if he doesn't, he's dead. Yeah, he's dead.
I can Taste my blade.
You do.
Well played.
Well, that was kind of a foolish mistake. Yes, indeed it was. At least we won with flair, so. Okay, well there you go, folks. Little bit of silliness there, but for the most part, not too bad. I think you can see both ways the deck works, either aggressively, just going kind of face, or more kind of passively, just building up your armor, you know, eventually over several turns, kind of whittling your opponent down. And the bombs do help. It was not my prerogative to put the bombs in there. I just threw in the wrench caliber and the iron juggernaut and things like that, and yeah. So, there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed that, and thank you for watching.